You're listening to the Level 5 podcast, featuring wide-ranging conversations on the subjects that matter in business and management.
Hello, and welcome to another video edition of the Level 5 Strategy Lounge. I'm your host, James, and I'm once again joined by Level 5 Managing Partner, Matt Kelly.
Hi, James.
So Matt, today we're discussing what I consider to be the most misunderstood asset on companies' balance sheets, their brand. So the terms brand and marketing are often used interchangeably. Can you describe how they are different?
Yeah, it's true, James. They are used interchangeably. In fact, it's plagued me my entire career. They're related, but they're very different. And let me start by saying what a brand is not. A brand is not a logo. It's not a tagline. It's not an ad campaign. It's not a social media platform. And brand management is not the job of just the agency or a PR firm. In fact, that's all marketing. And marketing is a cost, and it's a cost on your income statement. And it's a cost that's often reduced when times are bad in an organization, which is a mistake a lot of CEOs make. What a brand is an asset. It's an intangible asset that sits on your balance sheet, that has value, that should be actively managed as an asset.
So Matt, we know that brands are critically important to companies, but what does brand really mean to the average person?
Yeah, James, in its simplest form, a brand is a promise made to the marketplace by your organization, by your people, by the products that you make, and by the customer experiences you design. So in its simplest form, it's a promise made to your customers. As my partner, David Kincaid, says at Level 5, think of it as the value of a promise consistently kept. That a brand truly understands what the marketplace values. A promise is made to the marketplace that is compelling, simple, and differentiated, and then it's consistently kept through the product design or the brand experience.
And Matt, that saying, a brand is the value of a promise consistently kept, is definitely something we believe in here at Level 5 and something we try to impress upon our clients. I'm hoping that we can unpack it a bit, though, for our viewers. Perhaps you can start by describing what we really mean by value.
You bet. Okay, there are two dimensions of value. The first dimension is the accounting dimension that I mentioned a few minutes ago. It's that a brand is an intangible asset that sits on your balance sheet to be actively managed. Our partners, Brand Finance out of the UK, most recently came up with the top 500 global brands, and they valued the number one brand, Amazon, at $220 billion. That's the value of the brand. That's 23% of the entire enterprise value of Amazon. So in that particular case, or in all the cases where you measure brand as an asset, as an intangible asset, it's an asset to be actively managed. Again, the stronger that brand is, the stronger your organization will be. The second dimension of value is, what does the marketplace value? What do your customers value? And that's that unique mix of emotional and rational attributes that help consumers decide what product, what brand to buy. And so it's very important to quantify what are the most powerful drivers of value, emotional and rational drivers of value, so that you can build your brand promise and your organization to deliver against those drivers of value.
So Matt, value is really the benefits that strong brands receive, whether that's really strong reputation or really the financial aspect.
Right.
The next ingredient is promise. Can
Right.
you describe what a brand promise really is?
Yeah, as I said, what great successful organizations do is they understand what value is in the marketplace, and they rally their organization to make and keep that promise. That promise is simple, it's compelling, it's differentiated. And look at, for instance, Airbnb or Tesla. They are two new brands that are highly valued, that are disrupting the marketplaces they compete in because they are making compelling and very differentiated promises and product experiences based on the evolving needs of the marketplace and the consumer. And so again, think of understanding what truly drives value in your marketplace. How do we either articulate or engineer a promise to the marketplace? And then the trick is, how do you consistently keep that promise?
Matt, you mentioned it there at the end, that a promise is really only as valuable as your ability to consistently keep it. Can you talk about that consistently keeping part? Because it sounds as if it could have some operational implications.
Yeah, it's true. The great organizations engineer the promise into their organization. In fact, they build their entire business system around delivering that promise. First and foremost, they make sure that their frontline employees know what they're promising customers. Their systems, their procedures, the core capabilities of the organization, the people themselves, and even the culture. They're all designed and engineered to deliver a great brand or customer experience and, in effect, consistently keep that promise. That's what great brands do, is they consistently keep their promise, and they're always going to the marketplace and they're measuring how well they're doing at consistently keeping that promise, and they're evolving that promise as the needs of their customers change.
So Matt, you fully unpacked the value of a promise consistently kept. Is there a final thought that you would leave our viewers with?
Yeah, a simple analogy would be an iceberg. When you think of the top of the iceberg, it's the brand experience that your customers are having, and hopefully it's a consistently great experience. But beneath the waterline are the employees, the systems, the capabilities are all working to consistently keep that promise. So in a sense, the brand is the total top and bottom of the iceberg. So I would say the final thought is this: as a leader of your organization, do you understand what drives value in your marketplace and what matters to your employees and your customers? Have you created a simple, compelling, and differentiated promise to the marketplace? And most importantly, have you engineered your brand and customer experience to consistently keep that promise? That's what the great brands do. That's what the successful organizations do. They understand value and they consistently deliver against the promise they make in the marketplace.
Thanks to you, our listeners, for tuning in to Strategy Lounge, the Level 5 podcast. To learn more about our work, please visit level5strategy.com.